thank you to all the participants who have taken their time, to join this session. We'll ensure that the next 40-45 minutes till the time we are here is going to be very useful for you in the ongoing audit season. So I have taken a couple of examples with our fraternity members, and that I've tried to put in here in this particular session. So let's say our articles, or we go for an audit, and every time that when we look at any trial balance, so for example, I'm opening a trial balance. So every time my trial balance looks like this, okay? Every time for all the companies. And we would be having multiple companies, 10, 15, 20. Um, it will be little difficult for me, to speak in Hindi and in English. But keeping in mind for this is a pan-India session. So if you have any query, we can always address that in Hindi. So every time when we open my trial balance, I want to have the 4 columnar trial balance. Okay, so that's a very simple and interesting way to do that. But we press F12 and we do this detailed, and always use this option, expand in detailed. Okay, so you get this 4 column trial balance. Now, uh, every time if you want to see the same trial balance, what you can do is just click on save view. There is a button now, save view, or the shortcut is Control L, and you can give a report like this: detailed trial balance. Okay, now do you want to make this as your default report? You can say this, because this will always show you the trial balance in this fashion only. But if you are using it for any other report, be a little cautious while saving it as yes. And then show additional configuration, make it yes, and then say that I want to use this particular feature on all the companies while I'm working on this computer. Okay, so this will save a lot of your time. Now whenever you are in this report, because the moment I press escape and come back, it has turned back to the same. So I can click on change view and I can use detailed trial balance, and I will be able to see that same trial balance which I have opened in the detailed format. Okay, similarly, I can also go on to the go to button, which is Alt G, go to, and I can say that same detailed trial balance, and I can see it here as well. So this is how it saves a lot of our time. Okay, so the save view. Now with release 3.0, we have added Control F as well. Okay, so now Control F, how it will help you. Say for example, you are in the display daybook and you want to filter certain transactions. Let's say I said Control F, and then I'm going into the multi filter, and I say voucher. So first of all, I'm saying ledger name containing cash and ledger amount greater than or equal to 10,000, and voucher type name containing cash, or cash payment, or payment if you have given. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create a filter for my 10,000 rupees and above cash payment. Okay, so earlier what used to happen is, whenever we used to create such filters, we used to follow the same filters again and again in all the companies. Now with release 3.0 and TallyPrime, you would not be required to perform this again and again. You can take a screenshot of this, do exactly in your machine, in your Tally program, and you would be able to do it, provided you are on TallyPrime release 3.0, because this multi-filter which I am showing, the dynamic filters, are part of only 3.0. Okay, so I just saved it. I'll say end of list, and it is showing me all the transactions which are above 10,000. All the transactions above 10,000. Okay, now the crux is here. I can save this report and I can say cash payment more than 10K, or I'll just use the shortcuts like more than NK. Do you want to use this filter or this report for another companies? You can just say all companies and save it. So whenever you are in the daybook and you press Alt G and say more than 10K, just change the period because it's showing for only one particular day. Alt G, cash payment. So there are so many transactions which are paid in cash, and that is why it is appearing all these transactions about 10,000 in cash. So all of these are cash paid transactions during the year, and we have filtered it only for about 10,000. So the idea is that if you are creating any filtration, or if you are creating any kind of report, you can save it using the save view, and then you can recall it whenever you want. Okay, not only in a different company but in the same company at any point of time. So that's a very wonderful feature, and it's a wonderful functionality, and please do implement while doing the audit. It will save tremendous amount of your time. Now let us go to some of the important things here. For example, you are approaching for an audit, so you start with display, analysis and verification, and then go to data analysis. Here you have an option called verification of balance. So I'm taking an example where data is created every year. So this is an organization which creates every year data in a different folder. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to verify my uh, trial balance with my last year's trial balance. Okay. So whenever we finalize the data, we keep one copy with us, and then we send another copy. Generally, CA fraternity, they do that. They keep one copy with them, and then they send one backup to the client. So the one which is the finalized or the audited is with you for the last year, and now you are in the current year and you want to do the same. Go to display, and then as I mentioned, display, more reports, analysis, data analysis, verification of balances. Okay, and there's a button here called compare company. Just click on compare company and take your last year's data. Okay, do not go to this year. I just want to show you the functionality. So whenever you are loading it this way, and if you see, this column is the opening balance of your trade of your audit year, and this is the closing balance of your previous year or the other loaded data, the one which you loaded using the compare company. Okay, and it rightly straight away it shows that where the challenges are lying. It can be some error, it can be for anything, and wherever there is some challenge, it will show you that. For example, the closing balance of Amar peripherals is not being taken as the it's been taken differently as the opening balance, whereas the closing balance of the final or the audited data of infinite info solution is showing as 1979 as credit, but the accountant or the organization which we are auditing, they have missed to take it as the opening balance. Okay, so reminding you again, this will happen only when there is a different set of data. For every year, the client is maintaining a different set of data. And with the amount of transactions that are happening nowadays, everybody is having a different set of data. And it is very important for all the accountants that whatever has been, updated in the final balance sheet or which has been audited balance sheet should be fetched and updated accordingly as the opening balance whenever the audit is completed. So if the accountant has missed to do that, okay, you can straight away come to this report and you can find out that which ledgers or which heads they have missed to update. All right. So we would start from verification of balance, and we will uh, straight away get to know that wherever there is a challenge. But this report or this particular function will not work this in this manner if the data is in a continuous nature. If the data is in the same folder for multiple years, then it will not come like this. But it will also help you to check if any balance variance is there. For example, if any expense balance is there and it is showing credit balance, or if any debtors balance is showing any credit, if any creditors is showing any debit balance. So all this would be appearing here. Okay. Uh, Let me just close this data once. Okay. So now I'm going inside my report again, display analysis and verification, data analysis. And now I start my verification of accounts. So there are so many ledgers which is not in use. Okay, you can take a call, you can tell the client that these many ledgers are not in use. And every time when you load the data, it takes that much amount of time to load. The more the number of ledgers you have or the masters you have, the more the time it will take, because it checks the opening balances, it checks the masters, it checks the other details which are related to bill wise, etc., and then it opens the company data. So if you have any unused ledgers, you can simply remove them. You can just control space, and you can just say control space, and you can use the alt D, and you can delete it. But you should not do this. You should guide your clients to do this. Okay. Now, accounts squared off during the year, it's a very important report. You can just check the uh, group which are related to especially sundry creditors, sundry debtors, or maybe loans account. And then you can find out if any ledger is created and just been removed by making one or two transactions. So for example, I have find out that there is a loan ledger here. With the loan group, I found out I can press F12 and I can ask the system to show me the groups as well. Show me the primary group. Okay. So I can just find it out that which are the ledgers which are under loans or creditors, so that I can identify whether the everything is true and fair, especially with the loans account. So if I want to see this ledger, what are the transactions in this side? From this report, I can just press F8 to show me the ledgers. So as you can see, on 1st June, they have given some payments, and on 3rd July, they have received it. So have they accounted for the interest, that you can find out. And you can do some more transaction. You can use this report for 269 SS, etc. Now, coming to the only balances, no transactions. Only balance, there is no transaction. So what needs to be done, that you can check with the client, and then used only in the current year. So these many ledgers are used only in current year. So it can be possible because this is only 1 year data. Now what we will do is, while you are doing this, just click on compare company and load your previous year data as well. Okay, and now see the magic. So now it gives us more information. It says only balance is no transaction, only balance last year and used in the current year. So last year, this many ledgers, there were only balance last year. Okay, so these four ledgers were having only balances. They were not used in the previous financial year, but in the audit year, which I'm going to do the audit, these are used to make certain transactions. We can find out what kind of transactions have happened, because it is very unlikely that one particular ledger which was dormant for the whole year, all of a sudden there is one transaction happening. Okay, then regrouped, obviously if you are checking for two different set of data, then only this option will work, because in one particular set of data, Amar peripheral was shown as sundry creditor, and in another it is been shown as sundry debtor. And similarly with Vinayaka trading, and showing as debtors and creditors. So now used only in current year. So here you can check for the expense ledgers. Again, as I mentioned, you can press F12 and you can ask the system to show you the groups and the primary groups. Or you can filter out to show you only the expense groups. So Amazon POS, is there anything which is related to Amazon POS? You can find it out, because these are some new ledgers. It says electricity charges go down. So you can ask the client, uh, have you bought any new go down? Because I can see one electricity charges go down. And similarly for the maintenance charges. So what is the maintenance charge? I see a new ledger which says membership fee. Okay. So was it not there last year? Was it not there the maintenance? What was the Patreon was not there last year? What's travel expense was not there last year? Because it says it was created or used only in the current year. Okay, used only in the current year. That means these are new ledger created and the transactions have happened, and we have filtered out only for the indirect expenses. There are more ledgers. See, we can understand this for customers, for suppliers, we can understand, because we would be doing a lot of purchases and a lot of transactions. But when it comes to expenses, the expenses are very common, like electricity charges, fines and penalty, higher charges. So any other, like we are not seeing the other very common ledgers here, because these are all exceptions. We don't see any electricity, mobile, traveling and conveyance, all that we are not seeing here, because these are exceptions. These are having different behavior, because these were created during the current year, or current year means here is the audit year. Okay, so with this, you can do a lot of audit. You can give a lot of insights to the client, what is exactly happening with your set of accounts, your set of chart of accounts. Similarly, the same activity can be done for the stock as well. You can find out how many items are not used at all, and how many stock items are having only balances, no transactions. So this is, you can always tell them that you can give this report. You can give this report and you can ask them to take certain call, because this item is there in the system. For example, these items are there in the system, but there is no record, there is no transaction. So why to keep them? We can simply delete them. Then only balances, no transactions. If you can write it off or sell the stock on discount if it is there in the system, use only in current year. So that means it is created newly, and they can always check that which stock items or which line or which SKU have been added during the audit year or during the financial year for which you are auditing. Okay, and simply again difference in the opening stock. Okay, it's very simple. On one click, you will be able to know what is the difference of your opening versus closing. So after the finalization, if you have given the balance sheet to the client you have given the data to the client to update it into the system, and if they have done any mistake, you will be able to get it from here. So then verification of balances, I already explained it to you. What does it do? Okay, one of my favorite reports is the analytical procedure. So I'll just open a report and then I will explain you what exactly I'm trying to do. Okay, do not go by the date. You can have your own data, your own set of data, wherein you would be able to get all the, it will function the same way. So no need to worry about that. So what we have done is we have taken 2 years data. One is the, let's say, 12-13, which is my current or the audit to be audited data, and 11-12, which is audit wherein I have completed my audit. Okay, so I just see a figure 3 crore 35 lakhs, whereas my last year was 292. Okay, so 292 has been taken as the base, which says 100%. So there is a 15% of the increase in my last year's to current year. But whereas if you see my expenses, especially indirect expenses, my last year's indirect expense was around 42 lakhs, but this year it has gone up to 63 lakh, which is an increase of 49%. Okay, so you can always check that which expenses are taking more of this on which expenses are more here. So for example, repairs and maintenance, last year it was 99, this year it is 1,50,000. So there is almost a 50% of the increase. Salary last year was 13 lakhs, this year it is 24 lakhs, 25,000, 75% of the increase. So once you do this analysis, you will have tremendous amount of queries that need to check with the customer. Okay, I'm sure you would be checking it, but if you have not, please do, because it's a very simple and it is easily available just on few clicks of a button. I'll show it again. How did I do this? So you go inside the analytical procedure, select group. Base group is your sales account. Now, if you want to do more analysis, you can do more juggle of the groups and the compare with the groups. Okay. You can also juggle with the current period. You can do for the current last year, last Q1, this Q1, last month, this month, last half yearly, this half yearly. Okay, Q1, Q2 comparison, Q3, Q4 comparison. All this juggling can be done with the base group, current group, and the period and the previous period. Okay. Now here I have taken sales group as my base, and sales as my base, and indirect expenses. Okay. Now if I want to add more, okay, for example, I want to add group purchase account, add group direct expenses. So the whole of my P&L is available for me to do the comparison with my sales account. Okay, so here you can clearly see that there might be some correction which needs to be required due to the transfer posting of the entries, because as I see from the aerial view, from the bird eye view, it sees that a lot of transactions which should have been gotten into direct expenses has gone into indirect expenses, or vice versa. Okay, but still I see that when you check this, try to draw certain conclusion that what exactly is the purchase account doing with respect to sales, what is the expenses doing with respect to sales, indirect expenses, and so on and so forth. So this will give you a lot of insights while doing the audit. Okay, it's a very important report, and whenever you look at from your client's perspective, because you know your client in and out, you will be able to draw more conclusions, you will be able to draw more queries from this. Okay, so this is called analytical procedure. On one screen, if you want to see how many transactions are pending, like pending orders, pending deliveries, or outstanding, so all would be available here in the pending documents. Then comes the periodic payments and receipts. So what you need to do is you have to, from this report, you need to first mark those transactions or mark those ledgers which are periodic in nature. For example, rent. Rent is my fixed. My electricity is fixed. My some kind of membership is fee, some repairs and maintenance, the society bill. So these are some fixed expenses. And if you want to draw certain conclusion, if any extraordinary thing has happened in these ledgers, okay, generally if electricity is in the range of 2000, 5000, or any particular amount, it would be in the same range. It should not exorbitantly very high or very low. Okay, similarly with the rent and all. And if you see any other abnormality here, you can just always look at this. For example, the office rent here, or the electricity charges office, it says 13 transactions. So in one particular month, there are 2 transactions. So we can find out that how come there are 2 transactions. Okay. So we will also find out that why there are only 5 transactions of repairs and maintenance. If it is every buy, or if it is every alternate month, it should be 6 transactions. Then why is it only one? Okay, then I see maintenance charges, which we have already pointed out in the previous screens as well. So it's a newly introduced maintenance charge. We need to find out that. And now to get these ledgers, how do we get these ledgers in this report? This is called periodic payment. So we have to mark them from the periodic payments and receipts. So all those ledgers which you have marked, you have to just put a space, and then once you click on space, this buttons get highlighted. We can see. Okay, so you have to put a space bar and then click on update. That particular ledger would be available for you to do the audit in the periodic payments and receipts. So similarly, if you have any receipts, okay, uh, any ledger which you can think of or you know of, you can always mark them and you can take them in the periodic receipts and payments. Now comes one more very important thing, that is relative size factor. Okay, so relative size factor is a very important report. Whenever you are doing the audit, just randomly go on to any of your clients data and open this. Go to display analysis and verification and relative size factor. So relative size factor, what it does is it gives us the integer of your first highest value divided by second highest value of the transaction. So what does that mean? So for example, electricity charges, it's showing me a 13.39 value. So this is a average of my first highest value versus my second highest value. So if you see in the previous instances also, we found out during the while checking the periodic payments. So electricity charges were debited 13 times. So there were 13 transactions. So here what has happened, the accountant has wrongly booked one purchase of generator inside the electricity offices. Okay, so you can always find out such corrections through the relative size factor. Okay, because if you see my this particular ledger, electricity ledger, it is moving in a proper range of 4,000 to 4,000, 4,500, okay, 5,100. So all of a sudden, there is one entry which is 75. So now automatically it has come here. Okay, and we can find out that what is the challenge. Similarly, you can use this to check if any abnormal sale or purchase has happened. For example,
Sanjay, sorry to interrupt. Just checking, are you seeing the Q&A also at the same time? Because some questions might be, instantly, as in when you're doing it, I think one, two questions are there. So if you can just keep it open in a small dialog box, I think easy hoga aapko.
okay, sure.
Yeah, that's it. That's
Okay, so just a moment. I'll just check in the Q&A. Give inputs on audit trail, how to use. Okay, I'll tell you because it is audit trail is a different subject itself. So I'll tell you how to do that. Now, how 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 do you add group? Okay, so I think you were talking about the analytical procedure. How do you add group? So it comes automatically when the moment you press enter on the analytical procedure, the screen you get is this. So the moment you press enter on the analytical procedure, this particular screen comes, and here you have to just click on add comparison by using F5, and then you can add another group. Okay. So this was asked by Mr. B.S. Venkatesh. Hmm. You're welcome, sir. How to compare if previous data is in the same company? Okay. So if the previous year's data is in the same company, you will go inside the uh, display trial balance. And as I mentioned, you can open the your detailed trial balance. Okay. And you can say Alt C. And since if you have 2 years data, it will show you. I hope this solves your problem. Alt C is the command in the trial balance or anywhere wherever you see this add new column. Use Alt C and you will be able to add a new column. All right. So for audit trail, I'll take it up later on. Let us go to display, display analysis and verification, then voucher verification. I'm sorry, data analysis and relative size factor. All right. So relative size factor, as I was saying, that if you see any ledger with some abnormality, it will always appear. You don't have to do anything. Automatically, it will pick up what is your what is the top transaction in a ledger, divide by the second top transaction in the same ledger, and it will give you. Now, if you are now for this particular ledger, Supreme Computer Peripherals. Okay, so this is basically a customer. Okay, wherein the sale happens around 20 to 30,000, but all of a sudden the sale has gone into 1,60,000, 1,50,60,000. So this should always raise a concern as an auditor that if one particular customer has got a credit limit of 30,000, 40,000, because every business has some credit limits like 30 days, 40 days, 45 days. So this might also be having some credit limit 30 days to 45 days. So if one particular customer is being billed at 20,000, 30,000 in a range, then why all of a sudden it has been given a invoice of 1,60,000? Okay, so these kind of questions you can check, you can ask to your client basis on this report. Okay, so this is relative size factor, and inside the relative size factor, you can See, I'm not saying this is incorrect or all the transactions which are appearing here might be required some audit intervention. I'm not saying that. But what happens if a transaction is of maybe 20 lakh rupees or 40 lakh rupees and it has appeared in this report and it might have been entered erroneously. Okay. So in that case, it should you as an auditor are requested to at least update the client that we have found certain discrepancy, but you would be able to find it faster from here because it will automatically show you in the relative size factor at once. If you do the audit through your conventional way, your traditional way, it might take a little more time. Okay. And any transaction which is any ledger, especially here, which is appearing and has got a value of more than 2.5 to 3, you can just go and check that once. I'm sure you will find some discrepancy here and you can report that to client and ask them to get it rectified. Okay, so this is there are a few more options like pending advances. If you have given any advance and if it has not been recorded for, okay, then transactions on holiday. If you want to mark your holiday list, you can mark from here by using the holiday configuration, and on that basis, if any transaction appears in the system, it will be updated here. You can ask the client not to make any transactions which is on holiday, because generally if you're it can happen through bank transactions can happen on the holidays, but not the sale transactions, because now it is linked to e-way bill and everything. So it is very easy for any assessing officer also to find out, and he can do some unnecessary cross questions. So this is transactions on holiday. Then you have some more reports like here. For example, repeated transactions. If any value is repeated multiple times in a transaction, you can find it from here, and you can correct them if it is required, unless it is a fixed salary or something, or rent, or maybe any periodic payment like membership fee or subscription. So next is the voucher verification. Okay, so I hope you were able to gauge some information through the data analysis. It's a very simple thing. Just go inside and put any data and check for any client. You will be able to find some or the other query or the some or the other clarification that you would be required from the client side. Okay, but unless and until you take an effort, you go inside this and you check yourself, you will not be able to see the crux of it. So I would request, just take a data. You are going through the audit season, just take any data which client had sent it to you, go inside, check which are the stock items which are not in use, ledgers which are not in use, or the ledgers which are squared out during the year, ledgers which are created during the year, and so many other things which can be done through this. All right. So uh, take it as a homework and please do it. And you would, I'm sure, be able to give more insights of your data to your client. Now, let us go ahead and we will do the voucher verification. So in a let's say you have a lot of transactions in the books of accounts and you want to filter out certain transactions, so you can do the filtration here. You can go to master configuration and you can use sampling methods. So I've already used the sampling methods for the sales transactions, for my some other transactions which are related to purchase, sales, JV. Okay, I have already given that I want to do the all vouchers for my journal entry. So I've already said that for my payment, I want to see amount which are above, depending on the uh, nature of business or the amount which is generally it has. So I've given a amount range 50,000 and above. So all the transactions, all the payments which are above 50,000, including cash payment, would be appearing here. We've already filtered out the cash payment in the starting of the session. So you can use that as well, and you can tell the client that these many transactions are about 10,000 or cash payments, and you can suggest them to take a proper action, and it will be easy for you to find out the to do the reporting as well. Now I have already filtered. Just press enter on the name, these voucher types, and you can put a sampling method. Okay. So even number voucher, odd number voucher on the, and there are multiple uh, voucher types. So all these voucher types are in use. Okay. Here Tally will show you only those voucher types which are in use. It will not show you all the voucher types. Okay. So these many voucher types are here in use, and on that basis the sampling is done. So there are amount range. On the basis of amount range, I've selected now payment. You can see I've selected sales. I've selected my timber sales. So all payment transactions which are above 50,000 are filtered here. You can see it. Okay. So if I want all the month data at one go, I can just say Control A and I can do it. Now, when I'm pressing enter here, normal enter on my audit, and this is my verification, data verification report. So generally when we press enter, it opens in the alteration mode. Okay, but here if you simply press enter, it will open in the verification mode. So you can just put a status like verified, okay, and you can just move on. Verified, found, okay. Okay. So now this way, it stores your verification status and the verification note as well. And it will go inside your dashboard that this particular transaction is verified. So we did one voucher, this one, verified, found, okay. Okay, at any point of time, you can always export this and you can keep in your system, or you can give to your client that these many transactions I have verified, I have checked. And if any transaction you want to put for clarification, you can always put that. Need, okay, now here there are two more status, that is internal observation and external clarification. So internal observation means that I am raising a concern. I am a junior accountant or a junior article rather, and I want to seek certain information with my principal. So I will put this as an internal observation. Then if I need certain transactions which I am not able to decide with the clarification, so I can put that as the external clarification. Okay, I need the external clarification from the client side. Okay, so need more uh, supporting. Now, do you know any one particular person who will answer this? You can take that name. If it is not, you can just simply put any. If you know that this is related to somebody who is part of sales, or there is Vijay who is, you know, the account head, or Mr. Uh, Mr. Vivek who is the internal auditor or the data entry person, you can just take their name. Or if you are not sure, you can just put any. If you have created users. So now, if I go into the voucher verification and I just see external clarification pending, okay. So these many transactions are there. So this was the transaction which I mentioned, need more supporting documents. Okay, so analysis and voucher verification. And if your audit is over, okay, it's very important. If your audit is over, all you can do is, at least this you can do for sure, you can put a remark of the all transactions that you have audited. All the transactions means you can just put a remark that verified, okay. So in this way, what will happen is, if anybody changes the transaction after you have verified it, so it will come and sit here, and it will say that this particular voucher is altered. You will not be able to know that what has been altered after your auditing, but you will be able to know if the transaction is altered. Okay, because tally will replace your, it is just like overwriting. So we would not be able to record it here, what was the actual transaction and what it is now. But it will show you that this transaction was verified by me. That means verified, yani, it was audited and somebody has altered it. We can press F12 and see the date and time as well. So this was verified and it was altered by Mr. D or Mr. Mr. Vishwanath has been given the short name here, Vish, and on this particular date and time he has altered. Whereas I've already audited, so this was not supposed to be done. So you can always check these things as well. So it's a very important function. Now, coming to one or two questions which are asked. Clause 44 analysis, it is available now. See, clause 44 was actually the session today, but uh,
Sanjay, you can announce that we'll reschedule it for the clause 44 analysis and clause 34 of the tax audit report. I think some of you have joined late. We will reschedule this session in the coming week and fresh invites will be sent. Please look into our social channels for the new webinar update or your email for sure.
okay, so there are a couple of questions I'll just take. So clause 44 analysis, how possible through Tally, or we need some special TDL for that? You don't need a special TDL. You can use the now the dynamic filter which is available in TallyPrime. Display. So here you can add one more column. We would try to do this next week. If you can join next week on 20th, we will explain this to you. But with this, you will be able to do it. So you can add one more column, and then using the apply filter, you can find out a field which has got the registration number as regular. GST registration type containing regular. Okay, so I obviously do not have any transaction, otherwise it would have filtered for me. So I can show this you in another report, maybe. So before I go there, uh, I hope you were able to understand what I was trying to explain while using the data analysis and voucher verification. Is my screen visible?
Yeah, the Tally screen, gateway of Tally.
Yeah, it's visible, right? So I was trying to explain the voucher verification. It's very important once your audit is over. please mark the transactions which you have verified, especially you have verified, and the ones which are there in the system. So at any point in time after the audit, if you want to see that how many transactions have been altered, maybe by uh, unintentionally without any reason, then you would be able to also know that if transactions have got altered in this particular report, and it will show you that on what date who has altered it. Okay. And now coming to another report, that is okay. So somebody was asking me about the TallyPrime edit log. Okay, so basically you don't have to basically have a uh, different license for the TallyPrime edit log. You can simply download the TallyPrime edit log, and I will show you one more screen. Okay, so in TallyPrime edit log, it will be mentioned that this is a TallyPrime edit log. Okay, so now there are two products. One is TallyPrime. If you can see, we can read the serial number 88495 is the same with my another tally. Wait, let me share my whole screen. Then I'll be probably okay. So I have two tally. You're able to see my screen? If can you see my toggling, Komal?
Yeah. हाँ मतलब 5 screen मतलब वो.
Can you see this
Yeah.
toggling which is happening?
हाँ yes yes yes.
Okay. So there is a normal tally which says TallyPrime Silver. It's the same serial number 88495. And now this is TallyPrime edit log. It says 88495. So the same serial number is being used in the TallyPrime and TallyPrime edit log. Okay. Now what is the difference here? The TallyPrime edit log has one difference, which is edit log. This function cannot be switched off or switched on. This edit log, you cannot switch it on or switch it off. It is permanent. Whereas in the normal tally, this is my normal tally, TallyPrime Silver. If I want to switch on the edit log, so I can simply go to my company. So company Alta F12, and here if you see set edit log applicability. Okay, so I can switch on or switch off. Whereas in my normal tally, this functionality is available while editing or altering the company. So if I just say no to this and I save it, so I've used the edit log here. So it is just showing that edit log was enabled, but the security is not given because I have not. When I created this company, there was no security. Okay. Now I have added few more users. I have added admin here, and normally what happens if I go inside the edit log, I go to transactions, display daybook. I'll open any transaction. Okay, Just a moment. Display. So I'm making a simple payment entry and making certain expenses. So I have made two transactions. One is this, and uh, if I go inside the related reports, edit log, so it shows that these transactions is created. So it is not showing the system date and time. Okay. Now let's say on the second instance, I have altered these transactions to something, maybe 2,500, and I added some narration as well. Now, if I go inside the same transaction and I use Alt Q or related reports, so there are two instances. One is at 57, 13 September, and 13 September 58. So it's taking system date and time, and it will show me that wherever there is a correction, it will show me that in the red. So likewise, the edit log will keep on adding the number of instances that a transaction has been opened. Now, for example, I did not do any changes here. Okay, and I just saved it. Okay, now when I go inside this and I say Alt Q, it says that resaved, but there was no changes. It says resaved without doing any changes. So even that also getting counted. Okay, so this is edit log. Now let me check if you have any more question. With effect from 1st April 23, all companies, big or small, including non-profit companies licensed under Section 8 of the Indian Companies Act, must ensure that the software which they use has a built-in mechanism to record audit trail for every transaction, creating an edit log to each change made in the electronically maintained books of accounts, along with the date when such changes are made. Yes. So in TallyPrime edit log, you cannot change that. I showed you two versions of Tally. One is normal Tally and one is the TallyPrime edit log. You cannot change this functionality in TallyPrime edit log. But in the other Tally, if you want to use this functionality, you can have that option. Okay. So thank you, Pankaj. Thank you so much for us giving such a long information here. And can we get report for edit log? No, there is no report as such. You can just go inside the transaction and you can get it. How do we enable related party transaction and forex transaction in voucher verification? So related party transaction, you need to just go inside the voucher, go to analysis and verification, go to voucher verification, and then you have a master configuration here. Select related party. For example, this is your related party. Just click on space, select, update, and then put a relation type. Say, for example, director's brother. So all the transactions which are related to that will be available for you in the related party transaction. See, it's up here. Related party transaction, it's showing too. So you can just press enter and you can do the voucher verification. So this is how you do this. Forex transactions will come automatically. You don't have to do anything. How do we enable related party? Okay, I have answered that. While trying to check these functions, whether there is any chance of data getting affected. No, there is no chance of data getting affected because we are just trying to see balance sheet, trial balance like that. There are certain reports which is already created in Tally, and there is absolutely no chance. It is just, the chart of account you're checking. So there is no chance of the data getting affected. Hmm, which is the other end question. At the time of verification, if I see the full voucher at the time of verification, because your query is not clear, so I'm not able to gauge it was asked in what context. If I see the full voucher at the time of verification, can we get the recording of this session? If you answer my query, because I understand, but I'm not able to gauge what is your query. So if you can just put it properly. How can we enable audit trail? Sir, I just said you cannot enable audit trail in the edit log because it is part of the system. Okay. Whereas if you want to use normal TallyPrime and you want to enable edit log there, you can go to the company alteration and there you can press F12 and you can say see edit log applicability. You can use this question, you can set this question to yes. Okay, but this needs to be done by the client because it is their data and it should be known to them as well. Whereas if you are using TallyPrime edit log, so that functionality in that this cannot be enabled or disabled. Okay, here if you one more thing very important, if you set this applicability, let's say today, okay, now next 15 days you have enabled this functionality, and 15 days system will hold all your records for the edit log. Whatever transactions altered, edited, resaved, everything will have its fingerprint. Okay, everything would be in the edit log. But the moment you have shut down this, because this is in the user's control, no, this is a normal tally. And if you come here and if you set this question to no, the edit log applicability, you set this to no. So from that day onwards, this functionality will not be there. So that is why we have created a separate tally program wherein this cannot be set yes or no on the basis of the user's discretion. Okay, few more questions. If I verify the one cash voucher, can I see first the voucher and give my comments? Yes, you can do that. You can just press enter and you can, if you want to see the voucher, just press control enter. Okay, I think I am able to gauge your query now. So what I'll do is I'll just take you to normal tally. Say for example, you are here, you are in display, analysis and verification, voucher verification. There are 287 vouchers. You are inside the payment voucher. There are a lot of cash transactions. You found out that this transaction you want to see. So you can press control enter. There's a button also here. I'll just take this up. See this, alter, control, enter. Double underline enter means control. Single underline means alt. So control, enter, and I can see the voucher. I hope Vikasji you're asking this. Okay, if I see the full voucher, yes, you can see the full voucher. I got your question now. While trying checking these functions, okay, this I have already answered. Can we get the recording? That is up to, I'm not too sure about this because this,
Yeah, so the session is recorded. So we can edit the some parts and we can upload it in our CA
sure,
community portal. Yeah.
sure. So another query from Ashif is, can we get this percentage status of work in voucher verification in new data if client provides us fresh data after their modification? Uh, can we get this percentage status of work in voucher verification in new data if client provides? Yes, yes. Okay, so I got your query. So you will be getting the, okay, not here, in the another data. So I got your question. Say, for example, you have, uh, let me just check another data. So you're trying to say is that if I'm inside the, uh, so you would be able to see the percentage of the sampled voucher and the verified voucher, not in the clarification. So here you can see the percentage that there was uh, X number of voucher, 27% has been sampled and 30% has been verified. Okay, okay, too many questions now. Can we get this percent status of work and voucher verification? Okay. Sale bills in which invoice is generated, the audit log shows created and altered. Is there a problem? No, there's no problem because I'll tell you, whenever we are creating the transaction, it happens with the bank transactions also. Whenever we are creating a bank transaction or invoice, so the uh, invoice is just getting created into the system, and the acknowledgement or the acknowledgement number and the date and the IRN is been updated separately. So that is why it shows the transactions created and altered. Similarly, in the bank transaction, also in the audit law, you create the bank transaction, and after a certain amount of time, it can be 1 minute to 1 month to 1 day, 1 week also. You create one bank transaction and then you put one bank date for the reconciliation that this particular transaction has appeared in the bank on so and so date. So there is no problem with respect to edit log. Uh, shall we get the balance sheet as per schedule 3? Sir, it is under work in progress. We were working on it. It will be available for you during the next audit season, for sure. Can we give comments to multiple voucher at one go? Yes, you can do that. But the comment would be common. It cannot be different. Where coaching for TallyPrime is C systematic way with audit perspective in department available, or is there any book for the same? It is available in the ITT centers. You have to check because in the ITT center it is being taught. This particular subject is given at least one full day. At one full day in the sense at least 6 to 7 hours, and it has been taught in detail. Is it mandatory to use TallyPrime edit log or can we use TallyPrime and enable edit log? Sir, actually, this question you need to answer yourself because, as I mentioned, that there is a facility to disable the edit log in the normal TallyPrime, but uh, as per the comment, okay, Mr. Pankaj Sharma has given a beautiful comment here that this should not be disabled. This should not be, during the financial year. Okay, it clearly mentions that uh, under Section 8A of the Indian Companies Act 23, we need to ensure that the software which clients are using has a built-in mechanism to record audit trail of every transaction, creating an edit log of each change, and when such changes are made and ensure that the audit trail cannot be disabled. Okay, so it has been clearly mentioned. We cannot play with it. Can cash flow be prepared? Yes, cash flow can be prepared. And you can now, using the dynamic filter, you can create your own cash flows. Is it mandatory to use? I think I've answered all the questions. Is there anything in the chat? I'll just check. Yesterday we took data TallyPrime AWS Cloud. Can you show to export reports. So you can call our Tally support for this and they will help you. How to select previous year data. Please repeat this process again. How to sell? Okay, to select the previous year data, you just press F7, compare company. Please, can you repeat now? Repeat this process again. Okay. So, Komal, I think we are good to go, and I have answered all the questions.
Perfect. Yeah. We almost, I thought the session will be over in quite some time, but the number of questions. So thank you for such an engaging session, and I hope many people got their queries resolved. And so again, once again, I've put in the chat also. I'm going to send the fresh invites for the clause 44 and the clause 34 of the tax audit report, and I'm sure Nemeth sir would be taking the session. And so that's about it. We will definitely edit the recording and upload it in the community portal as all the CA Connect videos. So thanks a lot, Sanjay. Thanks to all the audience who are still being here with us. I will now end the session.
Thank you.